It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, it's Rusty. What's up, everybody? It is Monday. This is show number 3. So you guys are getting a lot today. It's a good way to do it. And my name is Rusty Diamond. This is on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. Check out other great shows on the network, such as When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is It with Lizzie and Saved by the Ben. And the show is brought to you by Fred Ben Savage's Fuck, Stoneries Productions, Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and Sock'emUp.org. I'm going to go and bring on our guests right now. But first, I want you to know you can leave a message. I'll play it on air. It's 503-974-6420. Or if you don't want to leave a message,
Messages? We don't need no stinking messages.
there you go. You don't need no stinking messages, but I do. So 503-974-6420. Let's get on with the show. Everyone, special guest right here, right now. We have Nate Javier. Nate Javier. Javier, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. That was a tongue twister, unnecessary, but I went for it, I guess. So that's what happens sometimes here. That's what happens when you do a few shows in a day. Yeah. So okay. So let me get kind of into this. So with your work, what you do, I mean, are you all in person, or did you do any, like when everything shut down? Did you switch over at all and do anything online? Do like any sort of online show, or like myself? I did it. I tried it once and I thought, this is dumb. I'm not gonna do any more of these. I did an online comedy show, and I was like, nope, not doing this. So kind of pivoted. But what about yourself?
During that whole shutdown phase, man, it was just tough. It wasn't easy, but I did try the virtual show thing, especially being a magician. That was a little tough, especially given my specialty in magic, with mentalism, mind reading, and bizarre kind of acts. It didn't really play well for just a virtual audience, unfortunately. I did do a 24-hour magic show with some other creators. Yeah, it was all for charity. There was like 40 magicians. We got together. We all had like a time slot, and we shared like 20 to 30-minute pieces of magic um, to essentially just raise charity. But after that, I abandoned the virtual game. It wasn't the same for me. The only thing that really stuck out though was doing audio escape rooms during that shutdown time.
What's an audio escape room? How's that work?
So an audio escape room is like a choose your own adventure, except for I chose the adventure and people had to figure out how to get out. I think like any RPG or tabletop game, but in an audio version, where you give the scenario and the players, they can take copious notes on whatever they want, and they're like, oh, can we check out the captain's console? Sure. Over at the captain's console you see XYZ, and we go through this entire escape room just based on audio. And I tested it originally on Clubhouse, ran that for a bit, and started booking out corporate audiences and team building events to be able to just sustainably run it.
And so have you pivoted at all to that since everything kind of went to being open again, or did you go right back into your magic and mentalist and everything else?
I definitely jumped back on to the magic thing as soon as it was open again. With my during the whole shutdown thing, I definitely maintained some videos on my tiny little YouTube channel, just to keep up practice and keep things going. But as soon as people started doing entertainment again, I was right on that. I started booking up and I started traveling again, making sure that as many people could enjoy the experience as possible. But I do still maintain the audio escape rooms, as well as I have picked up a few gigs, more than a few, helping design and build out escape rooms across the nation. So that's been fun too.
Non-audio ones, like physical ones.
Yep, brick and
What
mortar physical ones.
what got you into the escape room biz,
I've
as the
loved it.
insiders say?
I love escape rooms. I've been obsessed with them for a very long time. An ex-girlfriend of mine many years ago took me to one because she thought that I might enjoy it or I might be able to figure it out. And right after we failed our very first one, which was not very well built, and I know it sounds like I'm making excuses, but it wasn't well built. Some of the things were broken, but we didn't escape. But I was instantly hooked because it felt like you were in a movie or getting to do something adventurous. So combining my love for magic and uh, transporting people into a world that's not typical or normal, it just made sense because my brain just could not stop thinking about, oh, if I could do that puzzle and let it go this direction. It was just it made natural sense.
So with you saying that it was like a movie for you, are there escape rooms where people have to sign a waiver that they're going to be filmed and it's going to possibly be made into a film?
Not anymore. There
Not
used to
anymore. It
be,
did happen.
yes, there used to be waivers for escape rooms where they said, hey, we're going to use you for promotional content, or maybe we're going to do this with your image, just letting you know. The things from our security cameras might be used as social media posts or whatever it is. Nowadays, I mean, technically, it's still in most of the waivers out there just because it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
But people kind of expect, oh yeah, I'm going to be part of somebody's social media post or whatever at some point. But the whole movie thing, I wish it was a thing. That'd be really cool. But nobody's adventured that far yet.
Well, that's it's not quite rule 34 of the internet, but it's close. So I don't know.
True.
I think that could be. I mean, you'd have all the footage done for you. All you have to do is find someone to edit it, put it together, and yeah, I don't know. It could be an interesting one. And with so many people loving escape rooms, it's maybe an untapped market. And with the writer's strike going on, there's probably some open spaces for new creators. And
That would be
yeah, well, you can let that start spinning around in your head. And so you were on Clubhouse. um I was on it a little bit. I have a buddy who does some filmmaking stuff. He got me on there, and I mean, it was fascinating, the people that would be on there and like to do table reads and any shit like that. And I mean, it's turned out to be a pretty cool tool to be able to find other, like-minded kind of people. And yeah, I felt it was a lot more um interactive and able to, yeah, than maybe just some group online. I felt like people were really able to get to know each other pretty well, and get to work that way. So then you were on there, and you were working with other escape room creators. There was a Clubhouse room for that.
There was a clubhouse room for like escape room enthusiasts, and it was pretty cool. Clubhouse was awesome until they made it public. I think that ruined some of the appeal with it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here.
Yep.
Uh,
Right. Like
being
Facebook.
exactly as soon as like because it was all about being part of the clubhouse. Like you had to be
Yeah.
invited and know somebody.
Yeah. That's when I got off. My inner hipster fucking was like, oh, time to go. Time to get out of
Yep.
here, man.
Well,
All
because
the
all
noise.
the stupid people started showing up and just ruining most of the rooms that you were in. But I latched on to a couple of different niched rooms very early on, and so um, we would constantly be talking about escape rooms, and people marked me in the other niches, not the escape room. Let's be honest. Uh, but these people would ask me, "Okay, what rooms have you done? Where can we go? What do we do? I wish we could play one. I wish we could play one. Hmm, maybe we can play one." So it started with a murder mystery where everybody that wanted to play got a role, and then we had a few detectives. But I wrote it in a way where even the murderer didn't know they were the murderer. So it was a true mystery
Oh,
for everyone. And
okay.
then yeah, it was it was wild, and people didn't know what to expect, and they loved it. And from there, it just started running a regular escape room.
That's awesome. Um, so then what happens? Okay, I was gonna say, where are you located physically in this world?
I'm in Southern California, not too far from Disneyland, basically.
So have you been invited to the castle? The
I I've had quite a few opportunities to go and visit at the castle. A lot of my friends are members there. They are spectacular performers, and I love watching them do their thing. Unfortunately, I was going to have my audition, and then 2 weeks before my audition, the entire shutdown happened.
oh
So I know it sucks. And what's even worse is now that things are getting more normalized or whatever you want to call it,
yeah.
uh, they've upped the price for entry for even just magician members. And it's,
Oh,
yeah, and it's ridiculous now. And as great of a place as it is, uh, it's just,
not
it's
worth it.
ridiculous. And yeah, uh, I'd rather spend the money on like upgrading a flight that I have to a show, um, rather than just for limited membership. But I mean, I've always played with the idea of crowdfunding my way into the Magic Castle. I think that would be fun.
Ooh. Yeah, I
But
talked to a guy down there who was a member there, and because I didn't know about it, and yeah, so I figured and he's out that way, so I was like, yeah, maybe I was because I assumed that the community is not huge. Of you kind of know everybody, and so is there some sort of a weeding out process for people, or like if they like claim to be one, and some legit magicians are like, hey, you better stop, you're giving us a bad name, or is everybody get a fair shake at it, or what's kind
uh,
of the deal there?
most people get a fair trial when it comes to that. Really, there's an associate member and there's a magician member. And the associate member doesn't have as many magical perks as magician member, unfortunately. And I'd love to be a magician member just so I can access the library and spend my days in there. But the cool thing is, anybody who has an enthusiasm for magic and they can show their chops is welcome as a magician member. So they have to go through the audition process, but to become a regular performer at the castle, you have to do another one, and that's where they really weed out the people who are just hobbyists versus workers.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And so what about outside of the castle? Just in kind of everyday life, like if you see someone, I don't know, someone that books a show somewhere and they book it themselves, like if they own their own place and they're kind of a shitty magician, do people come after them or just kind of let them do their own thing?
They
Or am I
can go
getting
either
too
way.
inside?
No.
Inside baseball here.
There's a good portion of people who will just let them crash and burn on their own.
Yeah.
But everybody has to do the recovery after that, being like, no, we all don't look like that. We all don't perform like that. We have to be able to do something on the fly. Or what's even worse is when I just pick up small gigs here and there, and people book me because I do like, it's basically a comedy mind reading show is what I essentially sell it as. But
Yeah.
people try to book me just as a comedian, and I tell them, "Oh yeah, I do magic, really," and it goes hand in hand. I can't separate the two. And their immediate thought of a magician is that either a children's performer or somebody with a top hat and a cape, and I hate that image. I hate it. Number one, I'm not kid friendly. I only perform for adults. Right, and
Yeah.
it's just terrible how people look at that. And I also wear suits. Like I just wear a normal suit. I look professional, cleaned up, everything like that. I don't wear a top hat and a cape because that's just overblown. I don't have a magic wand. So that kind of recovery happens if somebody really botches a show that they book themselves and whatnot. And there's a small mob with pitchforks and torches ready to go and burn down the castle. Other people are just going, you know what? They're new to it. Give them some grace. Maybe somebody can go mentor him and figure out how to make his show better. That's usually the feedback that happens.
That's cool. At least giving someone a shot. Like if they see potential in someone and yeah, being able to go out there. But like someone like me, I would never try it because I feel like it's something you really gotta be good at, and it's gotta be something that you do. And I wouldn't want to be a shitty magician. I just feel like I'd be kind of a shitty magician. I stay in my own lane for the most part, own lanes, but yeah. And so what is the weirdest PO you've gotten for a gig?
Oh man, I've had some crazy things that I've never thought in a million years I could end up getting booked or whatever. A couple of them are shorter than the others, and I can give you the highlights. And one I have to just get off my chest because I got to warn other people out there. It's not worth it. It's kind of creepy. I performed for a sorority down in San Diego, which most single guys, early 20s, they'd be like, this is the best. Yes, sweet sorority girls. It's not worth. I'm telling everybody right there, it's not worth it. It was I felt like a piece of meat. It was horrible. And the only other guy there was the DJ, and he packed up quick and got out and just left me and abandoned me to, fend for myself. Yeah, it was rush week or something or whatever they call it, and they had their new recruits in there. So you got these fresh 18-year-olds. Yeah, super
Yeah.
thirsty, fresh 18-year-olds. The older ones, all right, not bad. We had a good conversation. But when you have a 118 college girls, sounds like a
Yeah.
dream, but it was a nightmare. I couldn't wait to finish that show and get out of there. Um,
What
I've
like
done
what'd you
what?
get? Well, as far as getting paid, what have you gotten anything other than cash as far as reimbursement? You know, more like for example, like a hot dog and a handshake, but more than like probably on a bigger level. Have you had anything where it's like, I'll give you, you know, three hookers and
Yeah.
you know, a big screen TV and a trip to Tahiti or something? Have you had anything kind of wild like that, or any thing where you were offered anything other than cash?
No, I unfortunately have a really strong sense of goodwill. So it's always, pay for the travel, pay for the lodging, and pay for me to perform. That's all I've asked for and all I deal with. I've been offered many things. I think they're nothing wild, but I've taken a few bottles of alcohol home before, of really nice whiskey, because I love whiskey. And I just made that connection with the person I booked with.
Oh,
Other than that,
okay.
no.
Yeah.
I stay pretty strict to it.
So how are you with airplanes, airports, and that life of how is it, or you know, and hotels are one thing, but how are you with the airports and the airplanes? And do you have a specific airline you like flying, or a specific airline you don't like flying?
Yeah, I love to travel. I love airplanes. I love flying, getting to meet random people, and a lot of the time, just kind of like we are here. I've been fiddling with a deck of cards, so I'm constantly keeping my hands busy when I travel, and that often leads to some great relationships or some unexpected upgrades that you never see coming. Uh, I know I preferred flying JetBlue or Delta. That's
Yeah, those are mine. Yeah, I did JetBlue uh back in January, man, and that like from uh from JFK, out of JFK,
mhm.
and man, it was, I was like, fuck all these other ones. Like, yeah, JetBlue and Delta was where I was living, where there was a hub before that, and yeah, so Delta's been good, and so you got JetBlue and Delta. Do Del or do you got to pick which flight you go on when you are getting booked? Do they say here's an allowance, or do they go and they buy you a seat, and then like sometimes maybe it's a middle seat, or sometimes I don't know, man. Or do you get to pick what yours and have them reimburse you?
I prefer doing it myself. I try to negotiate with them. Hey, give me this travel allowance. Here's what the average ticket price is for XYZ. And sometimes I'll fly coach with everybody else, back the plane. That's fine with me because I mean it's a plane. Everybody's going to the same destination. If it's a long flight, I might splurge to, get upgraded. Um, but I try to be an economical flyer. And if they do give me the allowance, then I'll just pocket the rest because you never know.
Yep.
You never know if you get hungry at the airport because you get delayed or whatever happened. But if they offered to just for me to tell them, hey, book me on JetBlue, I want to go travel between 8:30 a.m. and noon. Find me a flight that's good. No more than one connection if that's really necessary. I prefer direct. But then they can book it and just send me the confirmation number, and I'll take whatever that gets.
How tall are you?
I am 6 foot.
So does that become a thing with your knees and your legs? Do you that's about how tall I am too? And 'cause I know on some of those I've done those super economy tickets where legroom isn't as much of a luxury as it maybe once was. But are you pretty aware of that, or are you cool with knowing which airlines again to go for that have a little bit more leg room?
I I've learned I've learned to navigate my way around the legroom issue. I usually tell them or try to get moved to an aisle seat whenever possible, just because as soon as everybody kind of settles in, I can just stretch out into the aisle a bit.
Yep.
If I'm traveling a more budget flight, which I mean I don't mind. If I'm traveling, I get to travel. That's a joy to me.
Sure.
Um, but I know how to push my way around to make sure that there's a little extra leg room because it's not fun having somebody all up in your space and not being able to move for a few hours. So
Yeah.
it's a risk
And
that comes with the job, right?
right. Yeah. Um, work hazard. And so when you get to your town, wherever you're going, and you get off, let's say you get off the airplane and you get to your hotel, do you leave your hotel or do you stay there? And like, if you do leave, where's the first place you go? Is there a certain type of establishment, or do you go for a walk, or do you just stay in your place and post up there until it's time to go?
Usually the first thing I'll do is make sure everything's still in one piece. So if I'm traveling with paraphernalia, I'll make sure that's all, still functional, still okay, just in case I need to replace something or rebuild something. But ideally, if everything is good, everything's okay, and I fly in a day or two before the show, of course I'm going to leave the hotel. Like I am a big proponent of traveling. I grew up traveling, and I'll just go out. I'll go take a quick stroll, see what's around. Oftentimes, I'll do my research beforehand to see what places are popular to eat at versus the places that are popular for the locals, and those are the places I like. Local
Yeah,
grub is always better than whatever Yelp or TripAdvisor says.
right.
And I'll try to find a close by small bar. I don't like those big bars that have loud club music or anything like that. I want to see where the good old boys go, settle down, get a cheap beer, and just talk about life. Those are the other places I look for right away.
Yeah, it's good to get those bearings usually pretty quick and figure out those are the places that you need to go and get to. And then, so another thing I was going to ask, so do you check bags, or is there a code with the magicians that you don't check bags because someone's gotten their shit lost or something like that? I know that's a thing with wrestling. Like, you don't check your bags ever, just because you don't want to show up and your gear is not in there. And so is that a thing with you, or do you check your bags?
I don't check my bags. I have performer friends who often do because they travel with larger props and they need more stuff. My entire show, that can last up to about 75 minutes,
Yeah,
fits into a briefcase, just a small briefcase.
excellent.
And it's the same thing that played for 1,500 people that I've done in a theater versus, the 20 some odd people that wanted me over in Chicago for a corporate event. It's the same show. It all fits in a briefcase. I can take things out that I don't want, keep things in. So oftentimes when I travel, I have that and maybe a carry-on bag. Uh, I mean, just in personal travels, I packed enough for I think 10 days for New York just in my backpack.
Yeah,
So it's just you learn as you travel more, you learn how to take less. And I don't check a bag. Or if I do, that's a very rare occasion.
yeah, I've given up on checking. I did when I think I've done it maybe twice in the last, I don't know, 20 years. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, one time was when I went, I was moving and I checked a bag, and because I was going to be just like, I flew in and had, you know, like 10 days or something, or at least till my stuff came. I think it was longer than that. I think it ended up being like, but at least some of my stuff was coming in about 10 days, maybe 2 weeks. But I had one bag I checked. And then when I went to, no, I don't even think I did then. I think that was maybe just that one time. But yeah, it's not, I don't want to be waiting afterwards down at the carousel
No,
and, you
nobody wants
know,
to wait at the carousel.
right. Yeah, that's something that needs to get fixed up, and that needs a new way of doing that. But I don't know what the other option would be to find a new way to do that, but that's something that could use an upgrade in life. But
Definitely.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. There has to be something, but maybe as part of the thing, maybe it's job security for someone to have that carousel going. But yeah, and yeah, I don't know. Um, so then okay, so then you do your shows, and then so is it usually like you'll, I guess because if you're doing corporate shows and other shows, sometimes it's during the week, sometimes it's weekends. And do you have I mean, what was kind of your favorite kind of audience? And if, and also side question, is it people, are you more excited to perform for people who know you or people who have never seen you before?
Ooh, that's tough. Uh, I think anytime I can do my stage show. So, some of the corporate events that I get to do are like cocktail hours and walk around gigs, which is fine. Like I'll carry a notepad and a Sharpie, a deck of cards, the smaller, basically smaller version of everything. Um,
Oh, and I lost him. Maybe he's going to come back, or maybe he just didn't like it. Maybe he's just like, you know what? Fuck Krusty's podcast. I'm out, dude. I'm out. I'm good, whatever. So hopefully Nate's gonna come back, but he could also, sometimes people get calls or texts or something. Um yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll come back. So I'll give him maybe a minute or two. And I guess I can even do the wrap up stuff now. So you guys, so thank you so much for listening here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. Check out other shows on here, such as When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is it with Lizzie and Saved by the Ben. And the show is brought to you by Fred Ben Savage as Fuck, Stoner Eats Productions, Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and Sock'emUp.org. Maybe it was just too deep of a question. I'm going to bring it back on. I guess it wasn't too deep of a question. So that's good. That's good. That's real good. So Nate is coming back. I'm thinking he is. So Nate is back.
I'm so sorry. Technology failed me for a moment. That was,
It's all right. So so we were talking before about, if you like having a new crowd or an old crowd.
there we go.
I think was the question.
That was so weird. I'm so sorry. Yes. So instead of doing like the walk around stuff where like the smaller version of my stage show kind of happens in a walk around gig, I prefer doing the stage version where I can have like a big old notepad and I can get people to run up from the audience, as long as there's a stage, or I guess a theater. A theater is more like it. But I prefer having a new crowd. I love fresh faces and people who don't know who I am. Uh, I feel like a friendly show is never a bad thing. It's never a bad thing. I love sharing the art that I've committed to with the people in my life. I love testing things on them. I love having that support system, but nothing is as thrilling as having a crowd of complete strangers watching you and you having to figure out, how can I make them my best friends in like 30 seconds? So they trust me enough to come up on stage and feel comfortable when I need participation, or when, uh, or how can I make them more comfortable to not be afraid to just enjoy the event and not be that guy in the back that just heckles or is grumpy. You know what I mean? Like it just,
Right.
it's a good challenge, and absolutely love that.
What happens when you get a heckler?
Uh, I'm like, hmm, I'm like the sweeter version of Jimmy Carr. I love hecklers, and I like taking them down as well. Um, I either give them the moment, and then I'll have a quick witty comeback, or my favorite is bring them on stage, let them be all macho for a second, and then I hand them whatever the prop is, and I go walk out into the audience and sit in their seat and let them just kind of stare blankly. And then eventually the audience takes care of them because most of them are on my side anyway. So I let them self destruct, and it's a beautiful thing.
That's good. That's a good way to do it. And yeah, the hecklers, I don't know. Yeah, some people, especially comedy shows, will just, they'll shut them down, they'll kick the people out, whatever. And I'm like, bring them on. Let them
Mhm.
do whatever they want. I'm gonna have some fun with this. This is great. They're like, hey, I can tell funny jokes. Come on up. Come on up and
Yeah,
do it, dude.
exactly.
Like, great. Here you go. Here's a microphone. I'll sit back and eat some popcorn and watch you, and it'll be good. And so my final question, if you have one place you want to get booked at right now, where is that? Or at some, maybe
Ooh.
not right now, but at some point.
At some point, I have two places that I really want to get booked at. Number one is the Secret Circus in Vegas. Um, I know a lot of people think magicians want that headliner show in Vegas, and that's great for a lot of people. It's perfect for them. But I'm somebody who enjoys traveling and meeting people and networking with them all over the place. So a residency show is not for me, but I really do want to be a guest performer at the Secret Circus in Vegas, with what's her stage name? I want to use her stage name and not her real name. Stacy Stardust is her stage name. She's just a recent connection. We've talked a little bit, but her show is really cool because it's almost cabaret, but it highlights some really off the wall performers who are great at their craft. That, and I want to perform at the Chicago Magic Lounge. I love the space. I think it's a great place for people to see a different side of magic, and experience it in a different way that's more akin to what you used to see in like the 40s and 50s with the jazz lounges.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah,
Fuck
so you
yeah.
get like small circular tables or booths, and you get to watch the act in that kind of area, similar to a comedy club. But I love the Chicago Magic Lounge, and I'd love to get booked there at some point.
Cool. Well, so if the bookers for those places are listening, book him. And where can they, how can they contact you to book you? How can they check out what you're doing on the internet and other places? How's that going to happen?
So my website is currently under reconstruction, and so it's going to look more mystical and magical and
Ooh.
highlight my sarcasm a little bit more. It's going to be great. Um, but let me tell you, JFK would rather go for a Sunday drive through Dallas than redo a website. That is just, it is a whole nother beast.
Yep.
Uh,
Absolutely.
It's
Uh,
horrible.
yeah. Yeah. I'm doing it right now. And I had someone with that was doing a website, and it was costing too much, and then he wasn't really doing anything to upkeep it. And I'm like, screw this, I'll make my own. And then I was just like, oh yeah, shit, this sucks. That's why we
Right?
have someone else do it. So
Lincoln would probably rather go to a play than work with WordPress. That's really where we're at right now.
yeah, I
It's
think so too.
horrible.
Yeah. So
But
then besides
eventually,
that website, yeah.
yes, my website will be posted up on my socials anyway when it's done, hopefully in the next month or two. But for now, if people want to book me, whether for their corporate event or they have something interesting going on, uh, please feel free to email me in Javier Magic. That's the letter N, then JAVIER Magic at Gmail. That's a nice, easy way to get a hold of me. But please check out my Instagram. That's at in Javier Magic, same as my email. Weird. You can see little clips of magic, as well as my YouTube. Okay, my YouTube is really where I need some love because
Ooh,
it's a small channel. It's not something I take seriously for my business because I don't see myself as, the next Mr. Beast or whatever creator, Good Mythical Morning. I'm not that.
Red
I'm
and
not a
Link.
YouTuber. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not Red and Link, please. I'm
right.
not Smosh. But I like sharing magic with people, and that's really what the purpose is. On the channel, it's my best friend and I. We teach some magic, so people who want entry level stuff that's impressive and not the 21 card trick, you can learn it there. On the YouTube channel, we talk about magic culture, things like that, getting people really into it, just show the art form. I also have clips from my previous shows on there, and as I update a show, I'll throw an old one on there, and so you can see what my performance style is like on YouTube. It's youtube.com/makers magic, not magic makers. A lot of people get that mixed up. That's not us. That's some weird channel. It's
Oh,
Makers Magic. Yes,
okay.
they're an odd one. And you'll actually see this symbol. It's like a double M crown kind of looking
Okay.
thing, white with a
Yeah.
black background. Uh,
All right.
Come do it. And he doesn't like me announcing it, but my buddy said if we can get 1,500 subscribers by the
Yeah.
end of 2023, we can shave off all his hair on all the lives, minus the eyebrows.
Okay.
We have to keep the eyebrows.
Ooh, can you do little lines in the eyebrows?
That might be fun, but I really want to slap a wax strip on his hairy chest and make him rip it off.
Oh,
So
make him
it's
do
not
it.
for this. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Shit.
It's
All
going to be
right.
hashtag shave Allen. Um, we, like I said, it doesn't help business or anything. I mean, we appreciate the views, or if people learn something, let us know what you learned. But really, the YouTube is just for fun and to share the art of magic. And I'd really like to shave Allen. And so if people want to support us there, please subscribe to Maker's Magic. Again, it's got that double M crown looking thing as our logo. But it's been a pleasure, and I hope to actually make some new connections. You
Likewise.
guys reach out to me if you have questions about magic, if you want to book me, if you just want to talk about life, or if you think a hot dog's a sandwich. I mean,
Where are you with that? Do you believe it is a sandwich?
I believe a hot dog is a sandwich.
Okay, yeah, me too. I think it is. There's a lot of
It's
things, but what do you think about what can you put else on a grilled cheese and still have it be a grilled cheese sandwich? Or is it only cheese and bread? Can you put bacon and lettuce and tomatoes and avocado on there? Is it still a grilled cheese sandwich?
I think you can, as long as the toasted or fried bread, however you want to call it, as long as that crunchy, crispy, greasy bread plus a noticeable amount of cheese is still on there and melty, and kind of melty and gooey,
Yeah.
then I think you should be able to put whatever you want on there as long as you really recognize that it's all about the cheese and the bread.
So you could have a sandwich that is 2 feet tall, has a hamburger patty on it, has 4 hot dogs, has a bunch of pastrami, uh, and that's still and it has cheese, a grilled cheese aspect of it. It is still a grilled cheese sandwich with that stuff.
You know what? There's a patty melt, which is still a type of grilled cheese.
So you're saying a patty melt is a grilled cheese?
I will be in the court that a patty melt is a grilled cheese.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I think that's a fair one to go off of. That's so that might be one of those things that this Opus.pro might come up with, like, oh, that's some controversial take. That might be one of the things that's gonna pop up for the videos. But yeah, man, I'm glad we got to talk and meet, and hopefully, yeah, we'll cross paths again, and you're gonna be booked all over doing shows, even in places where. Okay, well, one last question. So let's say you go to a place where nobody speaks your language. Let's say you get booked in, I don't know, Uganda.
Okay.
Fucking Nate Javier gets booked in Uganda. What do you do? Did you do the same show, or what do you? How's that work?
What's interesting is I've done a show for a completely deaf audience before.
Did you have a person that was doing the sign language?
No, I did not. I had that option, but
oh shit!
It gave me the challenge enough to. It's kind of like the idea that music is different regionally all over the world. You know, rap, hip hop, pop, country, whatever it is. Those are all Western modes, and you have Eastern modes, but everybody can recognize music and have an appreciation for it. They may not like it, but they can appreciate, work that's gone into a musical piece. Magic is the same way, because for that audience, of course, I can't have my clever banter, my witty jokes, or anything like that, but it gave me an opportunity just to look at somebody, hold out the cards like this, but that's universal for, all right, take a card. Making it appear in different places, doing large movements with my body to dictate where something is going to end up being. It felt almost like more like a dance routine than a magic trick or anything like that, because it's all choreographed. So
yeah.
if I got plopped down somewhere where people couldn't speak my language or were very limited in it, I'd still be happy. I could still be able to do something. It's not going to be my usual shtick, but
Yeah.
it's something where I can provide joy for somebody else.
Cool. So if you guys are in Uganda and you want to book Nate Javier, you can do that.
Let's do it.
Get a hold of him and fly him out there. Make sure it's first class. Tell him Rusty sent you. And yeah, man, thank you so much for being on. And yeah, we'll talk soon. All right.
Sounds great. Thanks, Rusty.
You bet, buddy. All right, that's Nate Javier. I already did all the goodbyes and everything. So you guys, thanks so much for listening here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network. And that is the show. Man. Boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Ernest! Ernest! Ernest!
Yes, Pee-wee.
You brought the snacks, right?